Okay, let's get this party started, shall we? All right. Hello, friends. Anybody watching this? My name is Bernie. I also go by Ted or Fax or any other amount of names out there. I have been playing this instrument here, the Erhu, for about a year. I started playing in December of, I guess technically it was 2020 now. So I've been playing for a little over a year, and as of this recording, it is the end of January 2022, and it's the Lunar New Year, and the Lunar New Year is, depending on who you're asking, is going to be today or tomorrow or somewhere in between. Here I'm going to go ahead and do a performance here with some of the songs that I have learned in the past year for this performance. So I hope you enjoy. This is my first time doing this, so don't go easy on me, but I hope I'm doing this right. And if not, I'll deal with that afterwards. This first song, not the very first song, but this first song that I'm going to do for the performance is a folk song from the oroqen people. They're an ethnic group, I believe in northern China, and this is one of their many folk songs, and here it is. It's just called the oroqen folk song. The Erhu is a two-stringed instrument. Maybe you can hear it on the recording. It's got an inside string and an outside string, and as you can tell, this is a bowed instrument similar to a violin or a cello or something like that. But because it's got an inside string and an outside string, the bow is in between the strings. So in order to manipulate which string you're playing on, you would press the bow towards you using your fingers, kind of like this, or you would adjust the wrist so that you press outwards against the back of the bow in order to play the other string. The tuning is for the inside string always going to be D, and then for the outside string it's A. And so it's got these two big pegs here in order to make sure that you tune it right. Yeah, maybe I lower it down a little bit. Yeah, so you can see that and that. And they're very finicky. Sometimes it's hard to actually tune it to the right in the middle of D or A. There is no fingerboard here like there is with a guitar or a violin or something like that. So in order to go ahead and play it, you just have to find the right space on the actual board itself, or on the strings itself. And you don't press down so that it goes all the way to the neck. You just lightly rest your fingers on the strings, and then my teacher taught me that the way that you hold it is kind of like is like a tiger's mouth, where it's the fingers will naturally drop onto the strings, but they don't have to all be on there at the same time. And then I've also seen where the recommendation is hold it like you are holding a little egg inside of your hand, and then let your fingers kind of drop down. And so that song, the oroqen folk song, was in D. And then the rest of the D scale kind of in this position here, the first position, sounds kind of like this. You can go up also on the on this to different positions and different octaves inside of this, but you can have a lot of variety even with just a single position. There's a lot of songs out there. This is an old folk instrument that has been experiencing kind of a resurgence in popularity, and now you can go ahead and hear it in all kinds of music. You can hear it in pop music, metal music. There's a Chinese death metal band that also features this as part of the instruments that they use, called Black Kirin. They're fantastic. But I don't have a death metal accompaniment with me. When I started learning this, this is my first instrument that I received any formal training in as an adult. Previously, I had dabbled around with the piano as a kid, and I took drum lessons for maybe like 1 year, not even a year, like a couple of months tops, when I was in grade school. But that was it. So this is the first time I've actually spent like a meaningful amount of time learning an instrument, and I've been doing so virtually with a instructor based out of New York City. This next song is actually a dance song. So one of the classic sort of starter pieces that you hear. It's the fengyuan flower dance song, or flower drum dance song, and it goes a little something like this. the these first two songs, the oroqen folk song and the fengyuan flower drum dance, were the first two songs that I started learning with, and they're the ones that not necessarily that I struggled the most with, but I spent the most time with when I was first starting out. If I had to describe my journey, I'm, as of this recording, I'm 35. So in my day job right now, I'm a problem solver. I'm a tech problem solver. So when people come to me with questions, usually it's about some type of problem that I have to go ahead and think through and try to solve. And so very, very beginning when I was learning this, it was tough because it's something that I had never done before, really, and in a instrument that I had never encountered in person before. But I fell in love with the sound of it, and the more that I began to learn about it, the more time I wanted to spend playing it. And so I really appreciated just diving into the material, but there was still that sort of hesitancy where I didn't know if I was doing it right. I didn't know if I didn't know necessarily even how to read the notation to begin with, so I would struggle. Lots of, especially Erhu notation, can be in your standard Western musical notation that has the fixed staff, or it can be in a form of tablature called janpu, and that shows that shows numbers instead. So for D, for example, the open D is considered 1, and then it goes up all the way up until the fourth finger, which is considered 5, and then the open outside string is 5 also. So this would be like 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 5, and then 6, 7, and then it goes back to 1, and then 2, so the numbers represent where the do is based on the key that you're playing in. So because I'm playing in D, the natural tuning of the instrument, this would be do, and then afterwards re, mi, and then fa, sol, la, ti, do. There's the high do, the next do up. So something like that. So the first piece that I really started struggling a lot with and spending a lot of time, like I got obsessed with trying to go ahead and learn it, is this next piece. Up until this point, I had only known basically this, the D first position scale, and this piece is the one that I struggled a lot with. Like I spent weeks just trying to go ahead and figure out how to play this piece just by itself, and I would try drills. I would try I would just try doing playing the other stuff and then just playing this over and over and over again, and trying to see if I could hear it inside of my head when I was trying to go ahead and learn how to play it. And so I eventually developed that skill to go ahead and listen inside without actually having to hear the music outside, and then translate that to the instrument so that I could go ahead and play what I wanted. And then also figure out how to put my fingers in the right spot and then move the bow at the right speed for what I was looking for. So there's a lot going on. And so this next song, even though it's the winter time right now, I'm in Austin, and it's January, February time frame, so it's winter right now. This song is called Rural Spring. Okay, Rural Spring. The song is meant to be played kind of on that faster sort of rhythm, and there is you can choose to play it with an accompaniment. Lots of these songs are more traditional songs that have an accompaniment, and they there's a lot that kind of goes on inside of when you're playing a song like this. Probably this sounds really elementary for somebody who's really used to playing a string instrument, who's been playing it for years. But I was I only really met with my instructor for about an hour a week, if that. Sometimes just because of life, we wouldn't be able to meet for a week or even 2 weeks. There was a time where I was practicing so hard that I really tired out my shoulder, and I had like an old injury from a few years ago that I never really got treated. And so my shoulder was really like giving out, and I was having a lot of pain. I thought I had to go ahead and quit. But I went to physical therapy, and then, we got treated for it. Eventually, things started getting better, and then I was able to go ahead and play again. And that happened while I was learning that song. And so I was trying to memorize it. I was trying to kind of fight through the pain, and also trying to learn how to play it quickly, in addition to learning how to play it slowly. And I was trying to do that all mostly by myself and with my music books. And sometimes we would focus on it during practice, but ultimately, I was getting fixated on it. And But it's a song that I had never heard before, but to me it's a beautiful song. It The way that it sounds to me sounds beautiful, and being able to go ahead and play even just a little bit of it, in a way that hopefully is coming through the microphone. Hopefully I don't have to do something like re-record this because the microphone didn't pick anything up. But it's a beautiful song to me, and when I play it, this feels a little funny for me to say, but I feel beautiful when I'm playing the song, and I can hear the song, and I can hear that my brain goes into different places, like I'm in the middle of a field, or it's sunny and everything is in bloom, and my allergies aren't making my nose run. I do have allergies, and I'm stuffy right now, but it's it's a lovely song, and it's one that I wanted to go ahead and just keep playing over and over. And then eventually I learned a little bit more balance, and we kind of moved on to other songs, and I would still come back and I would play this song, I would play my other songs that I was learning, and I learned some other stuff too that's now inside of the repertoire, is what I guess I would call it. But I would come back to playing this song, and then the flower dance song, and the oroqen folk song. These were like my go-tos that pretty much every time I had a chance to practice, or even if I didn't have time to practice, if I could sneak away from doing something else, I would just take time to play these songs over and over and over. And when I'm playing these songs, I don't have sheet music in front of me. I'll close my eyes and I'll think of what is this song what does this song sound like to me in my inner ear, and then try to play with that, and hopefully my hands can go ahead and sort of keep up. And The process of learning something new, and something that is so new and so outside of your realm of familiarity that it's really uncomfortable at first, is something that I had forgotten, in the long amount of time that I had been doing technology and learning all of this other stuff, and kind of being viewed as an expert inside of those fields. It became routine to go ahead and see the same thing sort of over and over. And so life began to feel like the same thing over and over. And in 2020, I kept thinking to myself, is this it? is this the thing that I'm going to do for the rest of my life? Is technology the thing that I'm going to do the rest of my life? Even if I don't necessarily love it, I happen to be good at it. But I'm seeing the same things over and over, and I've been seeing them for the past decade or more. And is this what I want to keep doing for another decade, 2 decades? And eventually I ended up kind of getting out of my shell, and I started thinking that I wanted to do something. And so I started dating, and then I met some people, and one of the people that I had met, we had a picnic in the park, and we were trying to go ahead and be trying to be safe about it. So we were having an outside picnic in the middle of the sun. There was breeze, and we were both being as careful as possible. And then I said, yeah, I would like to learn an instrument, because I was looking for something to go ahead and do other than just sit in front of a computer all day, because it was really, really taking a toll on me, especially during that 2020 era where I really was just sitting in front of a computer for 14 hours a day. I was doing it for work, I was doing it for recreation, and that was it. Everything, I wasn't doing anything else. It was just computer stuff. And finally I was like, this is unhealthy. I need to do something about myself. And so I this was one of the first things that I wanted to go ahead and do, was I wanted to explore new creative things. I think I even set like a New Year's resolution for it. I want to learn an instrument, in 2021. And I had already started learning this by that time. And I was sitting in the car with my mom, and I was saying, I think the date unfortunately didn't really work out. We didn't end up staying together or anything. But I was sitting in the car with my mom, and I was still thinking about this musical instrument thing, like a week later or whatever. And I'm like, Mom, I think I want to learn a music instrument, and I want to go ahead and take lessons to go ahead and learn it. And she looked at me, and my mom is very matter of fact. She said, well, if you want to do it, you're going to go ahead and do it. There's nothing that I'm going to do that will stop you from doing it. And I thought about it for a moment, and we were at the stoplight. I said, well, yeah, she's got a point. If I want to do it, I'm going to do it. And so I did. I started looking online, and I started my instructor actually reached out to me on this like virtual lesson platform. She saw that I was looking at lessons, and I had come across her page, and then she reached out to me. And my instructor, Miss Yang, she's a performing artist. She's based out of New York City, and she specializes inside of this instrument. So I couldn't have asked for a better teacher, and I didn't know what it felt like to have somebody actually take interest and say, yes, I'm excited that you want to go ahead and learn this thing, and I want to go ahead and I want to be there to provide that instruction and encouragement for you. And that was really, really empowering for me, because the place that I was mentally was a place where I did not feel like I was being validated as a person. The work I was doing and the mental condition I was in, I was so scrunched up physically and didn't really have anything to do. So that was really nice to go ahead and begin learning that. But it took time to begin unraveling this kind of stiffness that I had inside of my personality and inside of my brain, to start learning something new, truly new to me. And as I began to go ahead and do it, I practiced a lot, and eventually it became more noticeable. And that was probably around half a year had gone by at that point. And, then we started talking about, well, Bernie, you should do a concert. You should start planning something, even if it's simple, even if it's just like one or two songs. You should go ahead, and I think it would be really good for you to practice working for a concert. And I said, well, I don't feel like that I'm ready to go ahead and do that. I want to add more skills. I want to add more songs to my repertoire in order to go ahead and present something to people that I feel satisfied about presenting to people. Because while I'm not a perfectionist by any means, I am somebody who wants to deliver as close to the best experience as possible for people. And so I began to learn more songs, and then I found another song, and this is probably, I've had been listening to this song for a long time at this point, and it felt like that I wanted to go ahead and begin learning how to play this song. And it was even more complex and difficult than what I was learning previously that I had played. And in order to do that, I began learning songs along the way. And so I learned a new key, which is the key of G. Sounds something like this. So the key of G allows a little bit more flexibility in songs to go ahead and play, which is nice. And so the finger adjustment happens a little bit, and but it's still mostly the same. And from like a music theory perspective, the thing that changes about it is that the semitone changes. The here. That's where the difference would be for G inside of the first position versus for D. Hopefully you can kind of hear that difference. So one of the first songs that I learned, it was also a song that was also a technical challenge, but this is a song that is another folk song, and I think it used to be an Irish folk song called Long Ago. And so I'll go ahead and play that for you now. Okay, long ago. long, long ago was a song that has some tricky technical parts to it that seemed tricky to me when I was reading through it, but I learned it faster than Rural Spring. It's a shorter song, a little shorter song than Rural Spring, but and it was in a brand new key. And it has some tricky things like continuing the bow direction in one way or the other, and then some tricky fingerings like going from this to this really really fast in the actual progression of the song. But I learned it faster. I learned it in a couple of weeks as opposed to a couple of months. So I could feel like that I was making some progress in my general proficiency with playing this instrument. And I enjoyed practicing and I enjoyed playing the instrument. It went from I need to learn how to go ahead and play this song because I have a need to get it right. And I have a need to understand no matter what. And it went to something like, I want to go ahead and learn this song because it sounds nice and I just want to learn how to go ahead and play it. And it was a subtle mind shift. It went from I must do something like this to get it right to I enjoy this thing. I want to go ahead and I want to learn how to play this because I enjoy it, you know? And in some ways they're very similar because Rural Spring, I really liked the sound of it and I liked where I was able to visualize kind of going to, but I was frustrated with myself for not being able to express that at the skill level that I was at when I started learning it. And so around this time, I also started trying to go ahead and learn songs independently. You know, I wanted to go ahead and learn some other songs that weren't just, for lack of a better word, just folk songs that were designed to go ahead and be skill builders. So I started looking for other songs that I was thinking that I wanted to go ahead and learn how to play. And so this next song is is one that maybe you'll be a little familiar with. It's the ending theme to the Studio Ghibli song Spirited Away. I believe the song is called Itsumo nando de mo. And I'll play two versions of it. I'll play the slow version first, and then I'll play it faster afterwards. This song is interesting because it's the timing for it is a waltz timing, but it's supposed to be played fast because it's sung fast inside of the movie arrangement of the song, and so and it is kind of a song that you could, if you got onto the dance floor and you knew how to do the Viennese waltz, you would be able to go ahead and dance to this song. So let me play for you on this live recording stream thingy that I'm doing. Let me play for you this song, the Itsumo nando de mo from the Spirited Away soundtrack. the fast version. When I was thinking about how to go ahead and arrange all of the songs for the concert, I had changed around the program a little bit. I knew that I wanted to go ahead and talk about the journey, right? I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to do some monologuing and talk about what it felt like to go ahead and go through this kind of experience and begin learning something that I had never really even thought about learning before until very recently. And then learning something because of the joy of learning it, and then also learning to get over this kind of mental block that I had put into myself because of the way things were, was really, really something that I found happiness in. And during the course of 2020 and 2021, I also was undergoing a different change. I was undergoing a physical change. I began to lose a lot of weight, and I began to go ahead and lift heavy things, and so I began to take more charge of my health, and so I lost 60 pounds, and then I gained, probably I think like 20 pounds of muscle, 10 to 20 pounds of muscle, and then lost a bunch of fat. And so physically I was undergoing this really, really large change, in addition to me doing this as well. And I found that in developing my physical self, I was able to go ahead and find that I was developing my emotional self too, and also my mental self. I found that I was able to be more comfortable with the person that I was, and also to not feel like that I had to be restricted into the things that I did, because of the way that I had to kind of set aside my personal identity, to work in a career field that I was good at, but not necessarily something that I truly loved. And I did that because I had to do it for the family, or it felt like I had to do it for the family. And during the same time frame, I bought a house. I actually paid for a construction. With that job, my technology job, I was able to pay for the space that I'm recording this in right now. And I'm able to go ahead and put a roof over my head, and then also my parents' head as well. I take care of my parents. And so that was really, really important to me, to the point where I put aside the things that I had personally wanted. Not just from a material standpoint, but the things that I wanted for myself emotionally, and even spiritually and mentally. A lot of the things that I was doing previously were ways to go ahead and kind of escape the emotional toll that working inside of a high stress job did. And I didn't know how to go ahead and aside from doing those things, and it felt kind of awful, returning back to this identity that I had to do in service of the family. But in developing myself physically and emotionally and mentally, I was able to go ahead and find the courage to pursue some of the things that I truly wanted to do. In addition to all of this stuff, I also do tea stuff, and specifically Chinese style tea, Chinese preparation that they call gongfu cha. Preparing tea with skill. And I had set that aside for several years as well, and I practiced it off and on, as a diversion for myself. But over the past couple of years, I connected with more people who did the same thing in Austin. And there's a fantastic place here in Austin called West China Tea House. It was not the only tea place that I have been to. I used to live in the Bay Area, so in San Francisco. So there were places there that I used to go to. But in Austin, there's this place, West China Tea House, and the people there are very open and sincere with themselves and with one another. And being in that environment and connecting with more people, more tea people especially, allowed me to go ahead and be more open with myself as a person. And and so that's kind of the thing that in the future, that's what I would like to go ahead and do. I would like to leave behind this kind of shell, this identity that I had constructed for myself in being. I am a person who works no matter what, and I will put aside my personal identity and well-being in order to be of service to the family, because that's the most important thing. The family is the most important thing. And whoever is watching this or listening to this now or any time in the future, you might not see it the same way. That's okay. I have a really, really deep love and respect for my parents and for my family. And even though it was not necessary for me to go ahead and do these things and to put aside my identity for all of these for like almost a decade to go ahead and work in service of the family, I did it because that's a form of me showing my love to them. Even though in hindsight that was a destructive way of doing it, right? I couldn't sustain that forever. And then finally now I was able to have the inner strength and inner courage to go ahead and say, I need to go ahead and take care of myself. Because if I don't take care of myself, I'm not going to be able to take care of the family in the future. And then what's going to happen? Then we're going to go ahead and things will start getting tricky. And there'll be a lot more pain and suffering that I've already been through so much to go ahead and do all of that stuff. And I'm not going to go into it here, but you can always find me on the internet or in person and ask me about it in detail. But it was a dark time, until one of the first things that helped to show me that there was more to it than just than just the things that I was dealing with, as early as 2 years ago, not even 2 years ago, is that one of the things that I found really special to me is music. And so this is something that I want to go ahead and I want to keep doing for as long as I can. As long as I can keep thinking, as long as I can keep moving my hands, even if I can't play everything perfectly, as long as I can express myself with the music and be in the music. That's kind of the most important thing. And because it's one of those things that makes me feel beautiful. And that's something that I've grappled with for a really long time. So, yeah, let's play the last song. Let's play the last song while I'm in this. I'm all up in my feelings and I'm feeling it. It's raining outside. I'm thinking about the journey that I have been through to get to here. And this song is the song that drew me to go ahead and push myself even more into this world and into playing this instrument more. And I'm going to bring up an accompaniment here because this will be the only song that I'll play tonight with an accompaniment. I'll set this off to one side here. And this song is another classic song that there are many versions of. This is the version that my instructor had taught me. And it's called Rain in Jiangnan. Now, hopefully this will pick up on the audio. If it doesn't, then I'll figure something out. I don't think I have any other words to say other than that. There's so many people who have joined me on this journey, and every single last one of them played a part in being the person that I am today. So if you've had a chance to watch through and see this performance, thank you, and I'll see you around. Have a good New Year.